Heartache
Tell me why.
ain't nothing but a mistake.
Tell
Now
me
number
why.
5,
I never
I
wanna
never
hear you
want to hear
say
you
it.
say
I
I
want it
want
that
it
way.
that way.
Oh well,
Chills.
hi everyone.
Literal
Right.
chills.
This is how we're starting this stream, okay? Cool. Hi guys. Hey, how's it ever going? Can you hear us?
It was number 5. Number 5 killed my brother.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, forgot about
The
that part.
problem with us trying to harmonize on stream, we're all at a slight delay,
Yes,
so
they
it's
can
never
hear us.
gonna be on with each other.
Hello everyone, welcome back. It's been a while again. We're kind of on and off a bit.
Chaos has
Life gets in the
begun.
way, you know how it is. We are the Stormy Dragon Tavern. We are playing Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, and this is the Trials of the Xel'nari. Episode number 62. Getting up there.
Oh.
Almost at a very nice episode.
We're almost at 64 Zoo Lane.
64, 64.
The chaos has begun, Lampy. You are correct. The chaos started before we even hit live. You missed a lot of the chaos already.
I had to
See, the
wrangle
chaos
them.
started when Michael was born, and then it kind of added when each of us started entering into the nexus of your
Is that because
reality.
I'm older than everyone else here?
Correct.
You just know how to time travel, Mike. It's fine.
I time travel in real time.
So,
1 second per
Boy.
second.
I
1
drink
second
some
per
absinthe
second
and I
until
lose
I'm
3
dead.
weeks.
so the party has arrived in the royal court. They have finally been given access to the Palace de Tans to meet Queen Alicia.
Oh,
Where
Queen.
hopefully things will go well. They have a lot to discuss. A lot of things have happened in recent times. There is a lot to discuss, so I think we will get pretty much straight into it. But before we do, there was one thing that happened right at the end of last session, that should be reiterated in case players have forgotten it or the audience have missed it. And that is that upon entering the royal grounds, there was a number of citizens going back and forth to different hearings, trials, court hearings, a number of them there to present their woes to the kingdom and in hope of gaining funds or access or permits or land rights of such. But amongst them was a priest of the religious sector who
The bells.
was
the
being
bells.
was being dragged from the area,
Oh,
screaming
yeah!
about something.
Mhm.
Upon seeing Xel'nari uniforms, he latched onto the person closest to him, which was Mug, and started screaming about a whole lot of strangeness happening in the area. Mug wanted to press a little bit deeper, and so attempted to read his mind, which was a cacophony of a little bit of him going about his day, being a bell ringer for his church, but then a little bit of giant mouths reaching up into the sky and devouring people whole, bodies falling upon them. It freaked Mug out, but as soon as the man was dragged away out of his abilities' reach, Mug forgot everything. All he saw was the man going about his day, and that there was a troubled man being dragged away. Doesn't remember why. Knows that he definitely wanted to press deeper into his mind, but didn't see anything strange about it.
I love how Ash is reminding us that this happened when we can't remember it happened.
There's something
there
you need to remember,
contact?
but you're not allowed to remember.
Yeah,
Well-
yeah.
Were there any visible symptoms of Mug's distress while he was observing?
Not necessarily. That is up to Mug. But the only other thing that you did get a quick glimpse of was that the priest in question had what seemed to be text scrawled on his arm, but it seemed to be carved into it, and rather hastily and poorly done so as well. but that was quickly covered, and as he was dragged away, you only got a very quick glimpse, so you weren't able to make out what the text said. Mug,
We
it's
knew
up
that
to
there was
you
a very
whether or not there was
disturbed
a
man.
visual of you reading his mind. I imagine probably not, as that's something you've kind of trained yourself to not show any emotion to it.
I think he wouldn't want the guards to know that he was like reading someone's mind. But he wouldn't care if the party, like if he turned to the party and showed a reaction.
I don't know
But
if you
yes.
would have had time to do that though. is
Yeah.
Upon breaking your contact of reading his mind, you instantly lost any memory of it.
Yeah.
But we would have seen the facial expressions that crossed his face.
So, perhaps it was like you glance in our direction, look confused, and then look kind of scared, and then just forget?
Pretty much.
Or a moment of confusion.
I
And
think it's
then-
more like a moment of like, ooh, like a little like. Maybe yeah.
Okay.
There was a very quick section. There wouldn't have been much time to really think about it. It's more like whatever the gut
Yeah.
reaction
It would be
have been
a
at the time.
passing expression as well.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been
So-
like...
Yeah.
Yeah, but we know Mug well enough to kind of know his like, I'm reading your mind face, and could therefore have context to ask, so Mug, what did you see?
Or we can at least guess he probably did.
Yeah. That man needs some help. He's troubled.
I recognize the church. He's from the religious order of Eldath. Perhaps if it seems worth our while, we can pay their temple a visit later.
Yes, we have pressing matters at the moment, but maybe you got caught up with these bad dreams that Xantix was saying were occurring.
Yes. It's concerning how widespread they're appearing to be. That is something that we can also raise with the Queen. I will add it to our agenda. Nightmares.
Just as a reminder to people as well, we don't have a lot of our items because we were asked to hand over any weaponry,
Yep.
magical
Yes.
items.
W-
But
You
Which is
did
making me
have anything
scared.
that was deemed not a threat.
we've had a few
So-
things which we've been able to keep.
So that's why
Uh,
Mug has an armor class of 8.
Which means Storm's fist weapons, she's put them away. They're in... We'll call them her bra of holding. We'll say they're in there.
Oh yeah, your knives of poisony thingy, yeah.
Yep.
And my bracer, my moon
Which
sickle,
she's a
but
little
there are-
confused because she didn't realize that she could see in the dark without them.
This is true.
Whereas,
learning.
like any good bard, Mug can kill you with your mama jokes.
She's a monk. She can still kill them. She doesn't need weapons.
Yeah,
Wait.
but it's not as cool as like vicious mockery to death.
So,
I can
Yeah.
blow them away. What are you talking about?
so Kovac surrendered her wand of magic
we gotta
missiles.
hydrate.
She still has a regular wand though. Was that taken?
Yes, that would have been taken. Anything
Okay.
that was deemed a weapon of any sort would have been taken.
But not my spellbook.
And Mr. Nibbles has had to stay outside as well as the dog.
The automaton hound, thank you very much.
The puppy is a good
dog.
boy. It's a heckin' unit.
I'm going to grab some
He
water real
is.
quick. In that time, Xantix, I said to you something, by the way.
Oh,
You had not paid attention.
no, I'm sorry. I thought I saw a thing. I just assumed it was something else, not. Oh,
I know at some point I want to cast on Kovac the enhanced ability because we did discuss it, but I'm not too sure when is going to be a good moment to do it. Because if guards see me casting a spell, I don't know if they're going to get a
Probably
front
is this
to it.
considered a
Close.
magic effect?
No.
I rolled a 6.
Okay. I will message you.
I have a quick question. Items being used. Oops.
Mm-hmm.
That would be bad plan, right? Because she's still wearing her
Uh,
sash.
It was not considered a weapon, so they would not have taken it.
Well, I mean, it's. You know what? It's fine. We won't talk about it. It's all good.
An alternate way of looking at it is you could try to use things subtly, but this party does not do subtle.
Oh no! If she used her sash, it would not be subtle.
Ash,
You would know.
quick question. So I mentioned in the last time we were here that I was going to cast Enhance Ability upon Kovek for charisma.
Yes.
Trying to find the best moment to do that. Because it's a concentration that lasts for an hour, so I'm not sure if it should have been before we came in at all. Because now we're in, it's like there's their guards everywhere, so casting a spell is probably a bad idea.
It is up to you whether or not you cast it beforehand, or if you're choosing to cast it
Well,
ahead of time.
well,
I would have discussed with Kovek about that.
we know that our meeting is at 3, and last session, Ash, you mentioned that our arrival was at 2.
Yes.
So if we cast it before, it will have worn off. Kovek also has a spell that she wants to cast, but is hoping that we'll be led into like an antechamber waiting room where we can like prep a bit closer to the actual meeting.
I would have taken your advice, and I have not cast it
Okay.
yet.
Alrighty. At the moment, you are still outside the castle proper.
Yes.
You can see a assortment of royal guards standing at the ready at the entrance, again rechecking the papers of anyone coming or going. You can see that far fewer people are being permitted entry into here.
Okay.
Not necessarily denied, it's just they do not have the right papers, and so they do not have access.
So
Leave the
we've made
filth
it.
outside.
So we've made it into the center ring, but now there's another level of bureaucracy to enter the palace itself.
Correct.
Perfect. Let's go.
This is like the VIP access area. So you make it up to the front entrance, present your papers, your writs of entry, and they kind of have another final check over to make sure you do not have weapons upon you. After that is done, they permit you entry into the castle proper. You are met by a servant, dressed rather resplendently. She bows her head to you as you enter and wordlessly directs you to follow her as she makes her way through the corridors of the castle of the lower level, making her way up through several floors before directing you into a room. She stands at the entrance of the room, basically just gesturing for you to enter. The castle itself is resplendent. It's mostly made of marble on the inside, or decorated with marble, with plenty of mahogany accents to a number of different
Mahogany.
different
Sorry.
architectural designs. You can't quite place where the architecture has come from. There seems to be a mixture of a number of different architectures going into it. There seems to be, especially the mahogany, seems to be carved in an elven style, whereas the stonework does seem to be dwarven in nature. But there are some other accents that you're not too familiar with. Mug, you may have seen some of them in your travels. You can definitely see there is a little bit of orcish in some of the designs as well, which is quite strange to you, having not really seen it outside of your homelands.
Ash, as someone who does have knowledge of urban infrastructure and buildings and that, I would be taking a very keen interest
Yes.
in seeing what else there is.
You know a little bit of history to it in that when this city was founded, a number of the different nations that came together for it all put their own little bit of input and their own style into the castle itself. Whilst most of the city was designed in one style, the castle itself was an integrated effort. And so that has led to a bit of a unification there.
Good. good blend of cultures. I'll say as I like just lift my arm up and like stroke at something. But as I do, I guess those with a decent enough passive perception, Ash, that's your call, would notice some scratches just
I
at
would-
the edge underneath
let
his
me
sleeve.
see.
But it depends if those scratches are causing you to bleed
It
into
would
your
be,
sleeve.
Actually, only Storm who may notice.
Oh, I see.
Rude. What's your passive perception? I thought mine was as good as
Your
yours.
passive perception's 19, hers is 22.
My passive perception's
Okay.
absurd.
Fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I
Sorry.
do. Wisdom is what I do. It's all I do.
Sorry,
It's what
my
I
clothing.
do!
It's sorry, my clothing is covering most things. This is just the merest slip.
Okay,
It's not like he's Thog, or Thalai, basically just wearing a loincloth.
I have a question. Do I recognize these scratch marks as the same as the gentleman I noticed out on the street?
There would be definitely some similarities to it. They're not as excessive or pronounced. They do seem a lot more fresher than the priest had, but very similar in nature.
Okay.
So, you just see that he's bleeding,
Pretty
I
much. yes.
suppose.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, no.
The blood would be dried. They seem recent, but not recent enough that it's still bleeding.
Okay.
Unless he's just scratched it and possibly just opened the wound.
I did send you a message that I would have absentmindedly been scratching a little
Yes,
lighter.
yeah. So there possibly is one or two pieces that is like almost like a scab cut open, that is bleeding.
Okay.
We're getting into body horror. I'm joking.
Do you enter the room, by the way? You've been directed to the room, and she's waiting outside.
There
Oh,
are moose?
yeah. I
Yes.
would have walked in.
Yeah, so you were directed into what seems to be a waiting room of sorts. It is rather resplendent. There is a lowered couch area with several sofas. There is a large writing desk on one side and a small table with fruit and dried meats laid out on it. The room itself is rather elegant. There is a nice warm fire ablaze on the one side, keeping the warm. The room warm, not warm room.
Fire.
As you step inside, for the first time she speaks only to say, you will be addressed shortly. Please help yourselves.
Okay.
And then she leaves.
To the best of our knowledge, what time is it now?
It is about 10 minutes prior to your meeting now.
Okay.
Are we left
And
alone
if
in this
Kovac
room?
goes,
Yes, she leaves you alone.
So no guards.
No guards.
Refreshments.
Well, there's probably like peek holes and spying and whatnot happening in here. We're probably not actually.
so I want to do a test before I notice if Kovac was about to start to do anything. I was sort of message in her head, just say, I want to do a little bit of a test. Give me a second. And I'm going to, I want to cast a cantrip basically, and I want to see if people react,
Okay.
because that will give us a.
You do the incantation, nothing comes forth.
Yeah, I was doing produce flame just to say.
Can I make an
And-
Arcana check?
You can.
Yeah,
Okay.
anti-magic area probably.
Goddamn anti-magic fields!
Can
It's fine. I
Storm?
expected something like this, but we don't know. We have to.
Arcana. I get a plus D4 to that, so that is a 22.
You had heard rumors of it, but never had confirmation, but you assumed as much. You know that the rumors state that the entire castle is in an anti-magic zone.
Ooh.
It seems that you have got confirmation of that now, as you don't feel anything different to yourself, but upon attempting to summon forth your magic, it does not work.
I'll walk over to a nearby column and just place my one slipper of spider climbing up against it, just to see if the item gives traction.
No, it does not. It does not. lean.
Okay. Right.
Can I do an insight check on Xantix? Does he look tired?
I don't
You can definitely do an insight check on that. Whether or not he thinks the DC needs to be high enough is
I
a
mean,
different story.
I guess roll for it, Ellis, and I'll let you know.
Roll for shits and gigs.
Then again, you are old, so you probably always look tired.
Mm.
I'm not. I'm like
Dirty 20.
middle. Oh yeah, Xantix looks like he hasn't been sleeping the best. There's bags under the eyes, and
Magic doesn't work. My
Yeah.
magic doesn't work.
Xantix does look tired.
Oh, this sucks so hard.
Oh no,
Outside of-
the wizard has no magic.
wizard can't do
Whatever
magic!
will the wizard do?
Yeah. There's also a chance that if we had cast anything by coming into this room, it would have been like, as well. As a theory, sound will run past you in your head.
And now you
I'm
understand
assuming-
why they let you have your magical items.
I'm
I'm assuming that me speaking does work because it's not a magical thing.
Correct.
That's a. Yeah,
And-
so I'm just double checking.
I can also understand why they. Oh God, Storm is wearing an extra dimensional space on her chest.
And you got one in your pocket.
No, I checked that with the guards.
Technically,
if,
I have
Ah.
2 extra dimensional pockets, and they know about them.
If it doesn't work, do the items
It's
just
got
get launched
pockets.
out, or are they just not accessible? Your boobs are in there.
I don't have boobs.
Yeah, but the bra might be magically. Nah, let's not continue that
It's
discussion.
the nipples.
Yeah, this is,
the
this is-
nipples are gone.
How does this work, Ash? I need a ruling on how an anti-magic field interacts with an extra dimensional space.
Well, How would you know?
Quite simply put, the ability to access it is not there.
Think of it like a portal.
Okay.
The portal is
Yeah.
closed, but the dimension still
Mm.
exists. So those
Okay.
items
So
exist
she-
in that dimension somewhere, but we can't
the
access
gateway
it because
to
the
it is
portal
no
is closed.
longer available.
While it's
Yeah.
against her chest, she also doesn't have access to her nipples.
That's a shame.
It's not
They
what-
were mostly superfluous.
I
Hey
have-
guys, fling your canon information you think into the chat.
I'm a
So,
cat.
Kovac,
We're not even on episode
What's
69. and
going on?
This was started
We-
episode 1, Ash. This was started episode, not even episode 1, the pre-episodes
That's
that we
true, yeah.
had.
So we are presently occupying an anti-magic field.
Mhm.
There has been speculation that the entire castle exists within said state. I had hoped that that was not the case.
Send a telepathic message. Can you hear this?
Well,
Yours is also not a magic effect, is it?
No, it's from the telepathic feet, so it's
Wait,
So
but-
sonic.
it is psionic like Sam's, so it does work.
okay. So, however, me using my telekinetic feat is basically me casting the spell Mage Hand, but without components. So that wouldn't work.
Correct.
So my detect thoughts may or may not work.
Can I conjure a quill?
Let me have a quick.
Everyone try all of your spells and your feats and abilities. Let's go.
That is not a spell, but it is a magical feature of my subclass.
I mean, I'm not the DM, but if it says magical feature, I'm thinking that still ties in with magic.
As bonus action,
It
you
does
can.
specifically say you
magically
can
create.
magically create a
Yeah.
tiny quill. So yes,
like-
unfortunately, that does not work. That is the wording for it. Yes.
Oh, this is hell. This is literal hell.
You do that, and someone's just like, "Oh, do you have an idea? Do you want to get someone's attention? What's going
No,
on in the
I-
restaurant?"
No,
No,
I
Mug-
require
Mug's just like, "Oh, yeah."
stationary.
You're setting up a beat for me.
Mhm.
I require stationary, and it's not manifesting. I have to use mundane stationary. Where is it?
Manifest, stationary, manifest, stationary.
So-
Come on, man, come on, we can go. No, we're not.
Wait, I'm gonna.
Kovac, I do believe there is writing implements here if you do need some.
I'll use my own thank you, and she begins to go through her bag to find stuff.
When Kovac gets the paper out, Mug will walk over with his finger and try to draw on it.
Storm through all of this is unusually quiet, leaning against a wall, kind of just like watching Xantix.
Xantix is currently sitting
Wait.
on the seating there, partaking in the refreshments.
Hang on a second. How does Father work? He uses he works in this castle. He uses his magic in the context of this castle. There must be parts that are exempt from this field. Has Kovac ever heard her father mention areas that are not excluded from this effect, that are safe from the field?
Whilst he does
Or,
on occasion work within the castle, most of his work happens within the royal area, not the castle proper.
Okay.
So, outside of the castle itself, magic can be used.
And that's how I was able to read the mind of that guy and do the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is strictly the castle itself that is in the anti-magic zone.
I'm upset.
Plus, I think
Okay.
your father wouldn't give away castle secrets, no matter who it was to, because that's part of the job.
Yeah,
working in the government.
I know.
Kovac.
Whatever. Yes?
You have an interesting opportunity here.
To be normal.
You get to meet your queen as yourself. Not as a wizard, not as a wielder of magic, not as all the external powers you draw upon, but the strength of you as a person. You have face down things, you have a strength there.
And the Xel'nari part, because that's the
Yeah.
big reason. Mostly.
I am deeply resentful of your attempt to spin my current distress into a positive.
Is it working?
However, you're going to need to continue that spin if we are going to get through this.
That is correct. I am not thrilled about this situation, but I will endure.
Perhaps I can put it a different way. Being upset is illogical. Such emotion is unnecessary.
I'm well aware of that. It is thanks to all of you that I'm feeling more and more inclined to express myself in a manner that you find palatable.
Ah, shit.
Sorry, I just had the ideas of 7 of 9 as you were talking. Oh, okay, no, yeah, Vulcan. Yeah, makes more sense. Live long and prosper, because anything you say it will can be used against you in court.
What?
Okay.
You good?
She's
I
a
don't
police
think so.
officer.
So I can't do any preparation like casting the telepathic link with the party. I can't even ritual cast comprehend languages to make life a bit easier.
Nope.
So I'll have to rely on the fact that I know 5 languages, and that'll have to be enough.
And
Do
none
you
of them are
think the
cat.
queen can't understand common?
Other conversations going on
This
within
is
the
a
vicinity, I'm assuming.
This is a high court. There will be court games. People will be speaking in multiple languages. It is good to see that there is evidence of Elven and Dwarven forms in the structure, as I know both of those languages. So perhaps if that comes up, I will be able to cover.
After a moment, there is a smart rap at the door.
Come on, you gotta finish it. Sorry, you gotta have it finished.
Shave and a haircut, 2 bits.
Yes?
The door opens, and standing in the door is he's extremely tall, standing about 7'2", but oddly, he's disproportionate. He looks to be human, but he seems quite thin. He is bulked out by the armor that he's wearing, but it just looks out of place on him.
We found the demon.
He has what can only be seen as a rather comical outrageous mustache that extends out well past his jaw, which is also
Is
his
it-
face is quite oblong in shape as well.
Is it Xantix from the future?
No, he's 3 times taller than Xantix.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In the future, he gets a chance to grow. He's a growing lad.
He got a growth spurt in his late 80s.
He does look fairly disproportionate. His hair is jet black. He has a scar across his face as well that's mostly hidden by the mustache. And his eyes are small and beady, which makes him look a little bit strange and at odds. He bows quite low, and then addresses you all. Members of the Xel'nari, my name is Otto. I am here to guide you to Her Majesty. As you are no doubt already aware, magic does not work within the castle, nor do any of your magic items operate. Any extra-dimensional items are not functioning either. This is precautions only. We, of course, hold the utmost respect for the Xel'nari, and you will be seen to the Queen momentarily. If you would prepare yourselves, we can make way.
Storm is fondling her compass. Does it still feel like a sense of magic coming over it? Because that's her focus. Arcane
No,
focus.
it feels inert.
Is it pointing
Oddly
north?
cold and no, it is constantly spinning around at the moment.
Okay, so it can't get a beat on a location. She is very unsettled.
I will give everyone in the room a once over and just make sure that we're all looking presentable. Fix Storm's sari in places.
Tell her to
Just-
stand upright instead of lean against the wall like a slouch.
Mm-hmm. And I believe she gave Sam a waistcoat to just add some formality to the things. But probably wouldn't pause too much on Xantix. Would approach him, see him looking like resplendent in armor, and just be like, hmm? And then move on. Wait, is Xantix in armor or like a?
No, Xantix is in basically a dress uniform.
Ah, okay.
Actually, how is everyone sort of decked out? Has everyone made an effort to look purdy?
Storm didn't have a choice.
So
She got bathed and everything. She was very displeased.
Storm and Kovac are dressed very similarly. Are both wearing like brightly coloured saris with very with very nice like Indian style jewelry.
Mug's in some fancy clothes you haven't seen him wear before. No armor, no weapons. He handed his sword in at the gate. Oh, and he's combed his hair.
Sam,
What?
what you wearing?
Clothes.
Helpful.
I feel like that's a very Sam response, though.
Isn't quite best please. It's because like she much prefers wearing baggier. Not in terms of just trying to keep the androgynous thing kind of going, but over these, it's actually ridiculously comfortable. And now wearing anything like tight fitting feels a bit more restrictive. So they've got the waistcoat on. They've made sure to trim down their hair, just so the shaved sides of the short hair is coiffed, I suppose one could say. Waistcoat, Xel'nari banner, but they still got their baggy trousers on. Luckily for them, though, they are not like Storm, not very amply blessed to kind of pull off trying to look like some form of dude.
Storm is
probably
relatively
some form of-
androgynous, yeah.
yeah, probably got some form of binding. They've been very just slight, just to kind of make the appearance a bit more natural, like smooth.
Yeah.
Don't like the lumps and bumps. It feels weird. And yeah.
Um,
Oh,
Otto waits for you to prepare yourselves, and then steps to the side to allow you to exit the room. And then he takes you through another series of corridors, past several rooms that seem to be for meeting guests or bedrooms for a long stay of, say, emissaries or such. Before you come to what you can only assume to be the doors leading to the main throne room. As you approach, you can see on the other side of the very large oaken doors, it seems to be almost a banquet hall of sorts. And then beyond that, a further room with a throne sitting in it. He leads you through the banquet hall, but stops short of the doors leading into the throne room, of which you can see there are a number of dignitaries and soldiers currently discussing something around a large table. However, he turns to you and hold it just a moment, please. And then makes his way over to one of the two statues flanking the doors. These are statues. They seem to be. They're humanoid in figure, but you cannot make out any racial features that distinguish them. They seem to be fairly racially androgynous as well as sexually androgynous as well. They most closely resemble a human, but there's no like form to the ears or anything like that. They seem to just be little nubs to the side and such. So it's really hard to tell of what race it is intended to be. And this seems to be by choice rather than erosion of time. He reaches to the legs of one of them and does something. He clearly covers it from your sight, but you hear a clicking and the doors slowly close. And then after they reopen, instead of the banquet hall, the throne room beyond, there is a small chamber. Only about 15 feet in diameter, in which he gestures for you to enter. The room itself seems completely barren except for a single torch.
Why are we not going in there?
The Queen is not within the throne room. That is, there is a military matter being discussed currently.
And this will lead us to the Queen?
Yes, of course. Extra precautions.
Insight check.
Roll for it.
I'm also just on the off chance gonna.
Yeah.
Where's my
That's-
D20?
That's a 15.
As far as you can tell, he is telling the truth.
Yeah,
There
13.
it is.
He seems like a genuine guy.
Insight. That is a number.
Did we get a view into the war chamber?
Yes, you did.
I want to do an insight check on the people around the table.
Mhm.
Having seen soldiers around war planning tables, if they're concerned about upcoming battles or anything.
25, by the way.
He seems to be genuine in his statement.
Please lead on, sir.
I get a 14 to check out the war chamber.
You're familiar with war chambers, having been in several of them at some point in your life, whether by intention or by your own prowess. They are discussing a matter, and there is definitely something about what is happening on the table that is of a pressing concern to them. It does not necessarily look like a military or a war or anything like that. It's hard to tell without being able to see the table proper, but it does seem to be discussing territories and such. You walk your way into the small chamber, Otto stepping inside, and the doors close behind you. You are in darkness other than this small torch that is lighting up the room. There is a few seconds of awkward silence where Otto does not say anything, and then there is a creaking and the grating of what seems to be gears shifting. And then you feel the ground suddenly lurch as it starts ascending.
Oh.
This happens in a painstakingly slow manner, and takes several minutes of it slowly making its way up, before it comes to a stop with a sudden jarring jolt, and you hear bolts sliding into place holding the platform in place. Otto just simply turns to the doors behind him and opens them wide, and you are in a... It's not a large chamber, but it's, I'd say, of medium size, about 30 to 40 feet in diameter. It is rather resplendent in its design as well as the rest of the castle, but you notice that it is adorned by what seems to be windows around most of the walls, allowing you sight out across the castle grounds and most of Tanzanite. But you know from the outside of the castle that no such room exists. On the outside, there is no room with this much glass around it. So you imagine that there is some kind of magical property to it, but you're not sure what. In this room, there stands 5 what looks to be royal guard. Their armor is even more heavily adorned than the ones you've seen downstairs, with plenty of what seems to be gold at first look, filigree upon the armor, but well, I suppose the lie's not here, so he wouldn't recognize it, but it does not seem to be quite gold in nature.
As an artificer, does the armor look more ceremonial or practical?
I will get you to
And I
roll
do have
for me.
missiles proficiency as well.
Yes, I'll get you to roll for me, actually.
What am I rolling?
I'll get you to make a Smith's Tools roll.
Based off what attribute? Sorry.
Intelligence.
All right. So
You gotta love that.
I do love that because do I have double proficiency? Yep. Bonus is doubled for ability check. Uses proficiency with the tool. All right. 26.
It actually looks to be slightly counterintuitive in its design, in that it's made to look resplendent and make it look less functional, but seems to be hiding its true nature to it, that it is actually quite functional and quite extremely well fitted. Each one seems to have been carefully made for each member of this elite unit. So some very fine craftsmanship has gone into it.
With that roll, would I be able to recognize the gold-like material?
No, not something you're familiar with.
Yep.
Infernal
Could you-
steel.
Could you perhaps recognize the person who made it, though?
It was Kovac's mum.
No, you would not know the person who made it.
Since we've moved it into a new part of the castle, I'm going to try and move my hair with a mage hand.
Okay, it does not function.
Okay. As we're moving through, I'll probably just keep trying to do that because it costs me no effort. There's no visible indication that I'm doing it, and it will give me peace of mind to know where.
Wait, so there were 5 royal guard. Was there anyone else in the room, like a queen?
Sorry, yes, I was getting to that, but was interrupted by discussions of the armor.
Apologies.
So much armor.
Yes, standing at the other side of the room, discussing something with another woman is quite clearly the queen. She seems to be in her early 60s. But by her posture and her stance and the way she keeps herself clearly in good health, and you're not sure if it's either a presentation for the courts or just the way she keeps herself from a high upbringing, but she has a perfect posture to herself and has definitely an air of regality to her. She is clearly someone who is quite confident in her own abilities and probably has not had anyone say no to her in her life, or at least that kept their head, by the looks of it.
Probably a good thing Storm's not doing the talking.
While she has quite a stern look to her, there is also a gentleness in there as well. You can also see from the way that she is speaking to the lady, who seems to be younger, probably in about her 30s, that she has a bit of a caring nature to her. It is the way she's discussing is definitely with almost a lovingness to it. But the lady is not someone you are familiar with. Upon entering, Otto announces your presence. Members for the Xel'nari here to see you, Your Majesty.
And Mug.
And
I don't
So-
say that.
So, from this point onwards, Storm is going to be keeping an eye on people's arms, noting whose arms are revealed, whose are not, and should there be any traces of the markings.
no one in this room's arms are revealed, I can tell you that right now. The 5 soldiers are in full plate mail armor, head to toe.
She's more looking at people of power, but she'll also take note of that.
Apart from the Queen and this other lady and Otto, there's no one else in this room. It is
Okay.
just them. Of which she then seems to turn to the lady again, thanks her for her time, and the lady makes her way around a large table that sits in the center of the room with a number of chairs around it. And the Queen turns to address you all. Please, make yourselves at home. Take a seat, or if you wish to stand, I'll be with you in just a moment. That is all. Thank you, Otto. At this, Otto kind of has a moment of pause, of like he expected to be requested to stay, but bows his head and leaves with the lady as well, stepping into the elevator.
When the Queen gives her attention to us for a moment, Kovac will nod in acknowledgement, but will also do a very deep curtsy. Because she's a queen!
Ash,
We'll,
question.
we'll
Yes.
bow.
Is as someone who has been posted in Tanzanite for quite some time and such, what is the expected greeting for the Queen? Are we supposed to bow, and if so, what is the level of bow? A simple bend at the waist, down on one knee?
In public, whenever she has made a public appearance, it is expected as down on the knee. However, you have heard discussions of in courts, it is a bow to the waist.
Well,
It depends on basically what your standing in the public is. You would be classified as someone of higher standing.
yeah, so bow at the waist, and then we'll take a seat.
Yes.
I mean, for you, that's, basically the waist height for everyone else anyways.
Yeah, short stuff, says me, who's shorter than you.
Taller than you,
Midget.
bitch.
I'm a midget gem, thank you very much. I'm sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll cut you with diabetes, what?
I will
Alright,
also
deal
take a
with it.
seat.
Yep, we'll do we'll follow after Xantix's antics.
She steps over to a small table for a second and pours herself what seems to be water from the jug, and then has a drink before settling it down. And she can see there's a moment where she kind of takes in a deep breath, readies herself, and then turns to you all and takes a seat at the head of the table. So, you have requested an audience with me. you deem it to be an urgent matter. I know things have been heating up in the lands of late. But I wish to know, what is the purpose of you coming towards before me today?
Yes. I will begin by introducing myself. I am Kovek Royazi. I will be speaking on behalf of this congregation during our meeting.
Yes, Royazi, a member of my faculty, I believe.
Yes. That is my father.
Very well, you are most welcome within my castle.
Thank you, Your Grace.
I know that one of your members is not official Xel'nari.
Yes, this is Mug. He is a contracted consultant, but he has been privy to our adventures and experiences, and his presence here is relevant.
You'd get a telepathic message saying, perhaps trusted confidant.
Me or the Queen?
You.
I'm.
I was going to say, I don't think he's going to start hitting on the queen just yet.
Ask a silly question.
Though considering it's Mug, valid question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, he's not the horny bard.
He's
Yes.
the diplomatic bard, which is way more trouble.
Yes.
He actually knows what he's doing.
She ponders for a moment. Now, someone who's in high standing with the Xel'nari is welcome within my court as well. I understand that in most cases, it is expected that only those of high standing may speak within my court. I, of course, lift that exemption for you, good sir. As the only reason why you would have requested an audience with me is something of dire importance, so let us dispense of any more further formalities and get right to the matter at hand.
Storm
Right.
over here just.
And that would imply that the formality of only one of us speaking is also gone?
Correct.
Good. Because that was going to be so stressful.
Kovek's like,
Oh my god. I will at least prime the conversation though by saying we have been traveling for many months. Our journey began at Xel'nari HQ and took us along towards and along the southern coast of the continent. We have had numerous encounters with demonic forces attempting to infiltrate and amass power across the land, and that is the primary reason that has brought us to your court today.
so you have confirmation that it is demonic forces. I've heard the rumors spread amongst the lands, but any investigations that we have found have turned up false.
We have first-hand evidence.
Experience.
While
Storm
this is
goes to pull out the thing in her chest and goes. It doesn't work. I have
what-
evidence, but it's in my boob.
Everyone, it's one of those moments that everyone just kind of goes,
Everyone
no,
just
we
like.
don't. We know exactly what she means.
Storm!
This is what-
Shut your face hole!
The queen does look at you quizzically for a moment.
She just.
I trust that you do have some evidence here.
Yes. However, that evidence was deemed sufficiently dangerous that it is kept in an extra dimensional bag that I checked in with your security prior to entering this district. If you would like it brought to us here, we could
or if
discuss
you
it.
name a trusted advisor, we can present it to them. if there's any question of its danger.
But before we... Maybe we should figure out who we can trust. Maybe hear our story first?
Yes, I do wish to hear more, but in the meantime, and she gestures to one of her guards, just with a slight nod of the head, and the guard bows to her before stepping into the elevator as well.
Does Mug have any bad vibes going on as he sort of extends some thoughts out and tries to read the room? So subconsciously using divine sense from Paladin.
No, not bad vibes.
Any good vibes? Any
Yes.
celestials hanging out in the area?
Vibration.
Stop.
No celestials, but there is definitely.
There's a unicorn around the corner.
Actually, can you roll me?
A D20.
Roll me an insight, please.
Okay. I'm not terrible at that.
I am going to, or Storm rather, is going to be insight checking basically the Queen to tell if she's lying, basically this whole time. Or if she's withholding information.
I will get you to make an insight check as well, please.
Mug's insight check is 18.
This is more guided by your paladin abilities. You don't sense evil. You sense that these people are of good intent, but you definitely sense that there is an uneasiness in the room. All of these guards are, whilst their body nature shows that they are at ease, you can sense that they are ready to respond within the blink of an eye.
Dirty 20.
You are unable to read her. You get the sense that she has been in front of courts for many, many years and has learned to hide her true emotions very, very well. Please, do continue with your story. I wish to know more.
So,
What are your encounters with these demons?
sequencing.
Shall we go back to the bard and the town, or does it extend beyond before that?
I believe the bard was our first inkling
Unless
of
we
this.
wish to include the Kalishta?
The Kalstas seem to be its own self-contained issue. I'm not sure if they were connected. Oh no, the second time we saw the Kalstar, we did encounter something odd in Kalstar ruins elsewhere.
Mm.
But our first encounter was with the bard, Thimblefingers.
Continue.
I think we should get the information, start from basically what's relevant,
Okay.
and we can add on from there, just so we're
Um,
concise.
Well then, and Kovek is going to just like pull out of her regular ass bag a more concise version of her notes.
So half the thickness.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here we go.
It's still like an inch thick.
I was going to say, so still twice the size of the Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm. It's a chunky book. And
Okay.
and just go, okay. We initially encountered evidence of townships near Xel'nari territory falling victim to effects of sleep. And it was brought to our attention that a bard that was traveling through the area was responsible for this. We began to follow leads and found that various cursed musical instruments were being manufactured by this bard and then spread around. We were able to locate the manufacturing center of these instruments in an underground warehouse in Antioch, and though we were able to disrupt these operations, we were not able to capture the bard. He fled to the west with intent of bringing power back to what's his name?
Starts with G, I think.
Grimgarush?
Grimgarosh? Yeah. No,
Grimgarush,
wasn't
yes,
that
sorry.
the big bad ugly guy?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, Grimgarush. Yes. That is it. Since that encounter, we have had several other encounters that all appear to now be connected and all seem to imply the attempted reascension of power of Grimgarush. We traveled to a mountain outpost in the Demu Empire beset by demonic dogs, and were able to rescue members of the Demu royal family attempting a coup. We then traveled down the coast to a region of the Kalashtar Empire, a small enclosed city of elves, being kept safe in a rather unethical way due to an ancient pact. There was a member among their number who was disguised as a demon, who kidnapped, tortured, and implanted a device in one of our members who is not present here today. We were able to escape and found ourselves in another location that I'm not going to fully elaborate on, but in that location we also encountered someone who was disguised as someone in a position of power and was attempting to alter the trajectory of the society using their influence. We then progressed further and traveled into the mountains to the south of your kingdom and found that the Xel'nari outpost in that region had been attacked and abandoned, and the roaming Goliath tribe present had once again had a demonic influence. In fact, the evidence that is being collected is an item taken from the body of their chief, with clear indications of demonic runes.
Storm will kind of sort of pop a hand in, just trying to be polite, but not really sure how. Okay. It is important to note that all people of possession were of influence. All the people who were affected were people in places of power, and not all of them knew that they were under the influence, or rather the people around them did not know that they were under the influence of someone who was very terrible.
A usurping of power, one could say it.
Yes, that is part of why we. Yes, go on.
I was going to say that it also seems to be targeting of very specific, isolated environments, but that is only because that is all we have encountered. We are not certain as to how deep or big their infiltration, has gotten.
That is part of why we were so motivated to arrange this meeting, Your Majesty, though we were reassured by our contacts in the Xel'nari that this matter was being investigated by you and your court. Our first-hand accounts have been rather damning, and we wish to lend our first-hand experience to ensure that nothing has been missed and that your safety is assured.
And I think we should also point out that this is not an accusation, this is information. We are not saying that there are infiltrators in your court. What we are saying is that we believe your court would be a very enticing target.
If
for these people.
if it is of any reassurance or possibly backup of this information, I don't understand how to say this correctly, but the god of my people that lived among us was taken over and infiltrated our society as the word of our people. And they were... I'm not 100% sure what they were doing other than accumulating power to try and feed something else, a summoning or ritual of some kind.
Yes, we do have other evidence, but it was immediately connected to the redistribution of magical energy from a god into Arcanium. Our attempts to investigate it did lead to some rather volatile and explosive results, so it was not deemed suitable to travel.
Oh, there is one thing that we have forgotten. Our apologies. This is linked to the pillars of magical energy into the sky, I believe. It is all very technical. Kovac made a long explanation, but we believe it is connected.
Yeah.
They are the arcane locks, basically.
We have observed one at relatively close range, and though I'm sure your own accounts and court can confirm this, it is a devastatingly powerful magical effect that the likes of which I have never perceived or even heard of before, and it chills me to the bone to ponder its ramifications on a global scale.
Throughout all of this, she is sitting rather calmly, nodding along as you provide information.
I rolled a dirty 20 for the insight, by the way.
I would also like to
Oh,
check.
no, we already went over that. Don't mind me. Sorry.
Yep. I was going to say, you already went
So
over that.
while we're doing this, I would like to be checking on the other lady who sat on the table with us.
No, the other lady left.
Oh,
It
she
is
left. Never mind.
You, the queen, and currently 4 guards as she sent one of them out.
Yeah, that's fine. Just keep
Yeah,
casual
we
eyes on
we equal
things.
their number. We can do this.
Kravic's just salty if she doesn't have any magic.
As long as I can get hold of a weapon, I can sneak attack. In theory. That's the thing. I can turn into an animal, I think. I'm
Can
not
you?
sure yet. I don't know. I haven't tried.
Ash, in
Suddenly a camel in the room.
Storm's hyper-attentiveness in
I'm
this
gonna pee
room,
really quickly.
does she sense any magic?
No, you would not be sensing any magic.
Okay. Because she has the vision. But she doesn't know she has a vision, but she has a vision.
Vision was married to Wanda.
Your Majesty, if we may ask if there is any of these elements that you would wish more explanation of, if anything is unclear, we'd be most happy to provide further information at your request.
At this, she takes a moment's thought.
You'd probably also notice that Mug is not his sly self at the moment.
Tell me more of what happened in the Kaleshtan territory. You mentioned one of your party, the one that is not currently here, was affected by a device.
I still
saw
possess
what-
the item, but it is not safe to bring out, nor is it possible to bring out in this current state.
Yeah, Kovac. This is me saying out loud, not me, not Sam. That we need to wait for Zoe. Zoe knows more of the detail.
There
That's
was an
fine, I mean,
element where we believe they had a magical degree of,
It's okay.
I would use the term slavery.
I don't
They were
think
keeping power over the elves
it
by
was
means
more
of
like
magic.
brainwashing. It was like their minds were fed a story, and it was the only thing that they knew, but it was magical. And n- you could. I remember we had conversation with one or two of them, and they could not recall events that had occurred because it did not fit with the story their mind has been told to recount. It
A
was
bargain.
We do know about the modified memory spell, don't we?
Yes. Long ago, a bargain was struck between a group of elves and the Kalashtar to keep the elves safe. The Kalashtar found it extremely challenging to maintain this promise, as beings like to be free, life contains danger. So they to ensure that this binding promise was upheld, they created a walled city, guarded it from the inside and the outside, and created a magical veil of modified memories, placing the inhabitants and denizens in a state of somewhat sedation. They were still functioning as a normal society to a certain extent, but anything that could be perceived as dangerous, following their encounter with it, was magically erased from their minds.
yeah.
Mug will hear in his head from Sam, I'm slightly worried the Queen might want to enact this herself.
We saw this as a crime to be investigated. During the course of our investigation, one of the Xel'nari was captured, tortured, killed, came back to life, and was implanted with a magical item.
It was
A second Xel'nari had been killed previous to this in their dungeons.
The extra dimensional space that... No, never mind. I gave that body away. Never mind. Sorry. No. Sorry.
Do you say that to the Queen?
No, it's just...
Gonna say, yeah, I'm pretty sure those
I'm-
remains were given to Barda to make sure they were investigated
Yep.
and buried at
Yes.
Xel'nari HQ.
Yes.
correct.
I still have it on the thing in the bag of holding, so I forgot. I'm taking it off that list.
Barda has those remains. We do not have to worry about them anymore.
Yes, good.
But
Okay.
the Kalashtar have stolen the future and the agency of every one of those elves. We had no true evidence that the elves had agreed to that. If the bargain was old enough, the elves may not have been born when it was struck, and they were victims of something they did not agree to.
Forgive
We
my
handled this poorly.
callousness, but this seems to be a diplomatic issue of which the Xel'nari should be involved. I'm curious how you believe this is of demonic influence.
When we went to rescue the one who was taken, we found that the person in charge of their dungeons, I'm not sure what rank they held in the city,
Was she
was
not captain of the guard?
No,
I
so-
did not ask her her rank. Things progressed quickly once we arrived.
Indeed.
She was demonic and attempted to summon further forces from another plane to reinforce her. She shifted in front of our eyes. She had the ability to appear Kalashtar and move amongst their society undetected, but was not, and was a serious threat. A very
Yes.
difficult person to face
The problem that we encountered between the elves and the Kalistar was pre-existing and is still going on. There was merely a demon taking advantage of what was already there.
I think that is the point that we wish to raise, is that these are vulnerable people that are being taken advantage of for the purpose of this endeavor.
Yes. For your notes, Your Majesty, the name of the city is Olentalos.
She nods this, and there's a moment pause again where she seems deep in thought. You said mention of a coup amongst the Demu Empire, but it was interrupted by demonic hounds?
Yes, a mountain range on the um, southwestern border of the Demu Empire shared with Namara. I believe a princess of their empire rallied some of her trusted generals and soldiers to a mountain keep in an attempt to arrange a coup. However, not long after they initially settled in, her forces were decimated by these demonic creatures who kept appearing out of the snow, and eventually they were forced to retreat inside a fortress. We were able to enter and rescue most of them, but some did fall as we fought our way out.
It should also be noted that this does not necessarily match the pattern that we are describing. However, it seems too big a coincidence not to worth mention within the same investigation. That people of temporal and political power are being dealt
Replaced.
with
Targeted,
through
yes.
targeted
Hmm.
from forces with demonic or diabolical allies.
Indeed. Along with the Xel'nari itself being targeted by the backbone of our territory, the townships that make it the land that it is, being brought low by charm and spell.
Was the Storms Island people mentioned about how the priest there?
I mentioned that we went to a location, but I was very vague because I'm not going to be the one to tell a
And-
queen about that island.
Storm did say that her god got
Her
interfered
people,
with,
and that her
Hmm.
god was used.
infiltrated. Yeah.
Which is her next point to raise. She actually turns to Storm in this and looks at her and says, "You mentioned your people and your god, but I am not familiar with them."
Yeah, this is correct. We are a private people who keep to ourselves and have only recently decided to reach our arms out to the rest of the world because we were an isolated people who did not encounter the rest of the world, and it has been this way for many, many generations. But in light of the events that happened on our home, we have chosen to try and educate ourselves with the world outside so that we may be more prepared for future trouble. The customs of our people are that we have a speaker who communes with our god, and our speaker was killed and his place taken by a demon that presented as himself. And as he was the one who communed with our god, he was the one who told the people of what needed to be done. But in light of this, he was also the only one allowed to enter the sacred lands which held our god's vessel, which meant that he was able to freely siphon power from our god. And was using it along with, was it Arcanium?
Yes,
Yeah.
there were spikes of demonic metal struck into naturally occurring arcanium veins.
They were trying to siphon the power for themselves. And we suspect it is because they were wishing to contribute to this ritual.
You also made mention that you were in close proximity of one of the beams of light that were witnessed.
Yes.
How close in proximity?
We were traveling on a vessel helmed by Captain Pilvin. I believe he may be may have previously been or is currently under your employ.
To
I am
put it
familiar with Captain Pilvin and his crew.
To put it simply, we were close enough to be affected directly by its beam and felt its aftershock.
The siphoning.
Yes. If the exact location of the first arcane eruption is still unclear to you from your perspective, we can provide you our best approximation of its origin point.
No, we believe we have located the source of that. More on that later, perhaps.
I see.
They do all seem to be coming from very specific places. I believe one of the demons, the one from Storm's home, was stating that it believed that that location was of a lock. Or am I mistaken in that? Like they were trying to find the lock, basically to free the the Gribbly god,
Grimgrush.
Grimgrish.
Look,
So they are definitely targeting very specific places and using places of power as leverage. At least what we've located.
I do not wish to be rude, but we do not even know that we can trust you.
You Kovac hears in Sam's head. She's got a point.
And Kovac will nod in Sam's direction slightly.
Yeah.
We mean
She's-
this with the utmost respect. While Tanzanite is the most powerful city in the world,
Nobody
the
is
Xel'nari are
immune.
here to defend all the peoples of the world.
Nobody is immune. Everyone has their weaknesses.
We're taking precautions. I hope you understand that.
I do
As the
not-
Xel'nari, we do have a wider range we need to see.
I do not speak with lack of respect, only with sincerity.
And I suppose you have a way of revealing these creatures?
The fact that your entire palace is housed within an anti-magic field will give you great defense against the techniques they have used before. However, we do not know to the extent that they have grown in power, and it is possible that your current anti-magic field may not be sufficient.
If I might add in, there is a spell that the druids know of, known as Moonbeam, which will reveal a creature's true nature, but that more comes into a form of lycanthropy, you could say it. It forces creatures who have transformed themselves into one way to be revealed. The main reason I'm bringing this up is not to cast it on civilians and such, but it's more. I don't know if we're fully sure if the way that they transform themselves is of a magical nature. It could be like myself as a druid, I can turn into other animals. I've never been fully sure if that's of a magical nature or if that's more of a inherent ability of becoming a druid. But if it's anything like that, then I will admit I do not believe an anti-magical field will actually apply.
On this thought and theory, Storm tries to cast Levitate on herself. Does it work? Since it's an inherent, it's a racial ability.
I was going to say it depends on the wording of the ability.
And I was also going to try and I was going to do a moment of like, I'm going to try something, please. I was going to try and see if I could turn into a cat. As to like prove a point of, I'm not sure if this would be an inherently magical thing, but with permission.
I'm just going to quickly find Alice's one.
Yeah, I'm looking for it as
Mhm.
well.
It's the Ganassi one, isn't it?
Yep. Also, my elemental attunement in theory is not casting a spell, it is a control of the elements.
No, that actually is specifically listed as a magical effect.
Elemental attunement?
Hmm.
As an
Through
action, you can briefly
The
control
Disciple of Elements part.
Mm. Okay, I understand.
You can cast the levitate spell with this trait without requiring a material component,
Yeah,
so I think it
it
still
is
counts as
specifically the
casting.
spell, yeah.
Okay.
It comes from your race, but the wording of it is stated.
Is a
Gotcha,
magic effect,
gotcha.
Yeah. I will ask if with the queen, with your permission, is it okay if I try to transform myself into say a cat, just to prove my point on this transformation matter?
She seems in thought for a moment before nodding her head. Yes, you may try. It
I will
is,
attempt to just turn.
interesting for me to find out as well.
I will transform into just a basic cat, one I've done before. Kovac will recognize this cat.
Oh!
It's the therapy cat.
It's the therapy cat.
You do not recognize the cat, but can you please make me an intelligence saving throw, please?
Me?
Yes.
There's a certain irony
Interesting.
there.
Okay. Intelligence. Okay. What number do I have to be? No, that's not how this works.
What number did you get?
I can
I
tell
got a
you the
dirty
saving
20.
throw is 18, so
I got a dirty 20.
you do save for half damage. As you feel a shock go through your whole body, starting from your mind and tingling through your entire nervous system as you attempt to shape. You feel your body slightly distort as it normally would to form the shape,
Mhm.
but almost like a burning sensation go up your senses as it reverts back to yourself. You are not able to wild shape. Oh god.
Okay, that hurt. Everyone could see that something tried to start to contort, and then it's like, oh, okay.
So you take 18 points after the half. So it's 18 points of psychic damage.
Okay, cool.
Nasty.
Curious to see how the queen reacts. It's like, oh yes, this is what I thought would happen. Of that's different.
So, we see like, and then just nosebleed.
Pretty much. It's more of a sudden shock, like almost being hit by a taser.
Yeah.
Mental
Okay.
taser.
I think we have a point proven. Ow.
Apologies that you had to go through that, but I had to make sure that my own defenses were adequate as well. It appears that they are. I do appreciate you testing on my behalf. I will make sure that the physicians see to you before you leave.
Can I have some milk, please?
I have water, or perhaps wines.
What water? Oh, big, nice, thank you.
At which one of the guards does present you with a glass of water.
Well, that potentially answers that question. Thank you for allowing me to help you with your. I'm gonna go take a nap.
Is there anything else you wish to present about these demons? You made mention of the Goliath to the south.
Yes. Is the guard that you sent away collecting our extra dimensional bag to present evidence?
Yes, he is going to retrieve the item that you spoke of.
It is in a lead box, so it should be secure. And
It will be some time before he returns.
Doesn't Storm
Well-
have the lead box?
no, you gave it to me, and it's in the bag of holding containing the
Ah.
weird discs.
It gives
And if we
Storm
never
more
see
room
this
for
guard again,
explosives.
we've got a traitor in the midst. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Because we were already discussing Captain Pilgrim and being on his ship, I will segue slightly. Mention as we are waiting on your guard, we can discuss an item that we located during our travels that is of interest to you.
You speak
I-
of the chest. Pilvin has spoken of it.
yes.
I'm not concerned with this at the current moment. I wish to know more about these demonic entities.
Right. Okay. Well, to the best of my knowledge, the chest is on the way. That is fine. We do have more recent concerning issues regarding nightmares afflicting people within your city.
Did we inform Her Majesty what happened at the village, at the Goliath?
We did not.
That's
That is
why she was asking about it.
Yep, I brain farted on that one.
Um,
Kovic wouldn't have forgotten. That was traumatizing. But Zoe forgot. My apologies.
Is this when we woke up in the body of the thing?
kind of got a bit cut off in conversation as well, so we sort of
Yeah.
like segued a little bit.
No, the heckin' prismatic wall and meteor
Yeah!
Yeah,
All
the
of
big
that!
summoning circle that Kovac and Storm witnessed as well.
Look, I
Hordes of
forgot
enemies.
because it happened less than 2 hours ago, so everything else is I've forgotten.
When we were visiting the Goliath encampment, we found that their leadership had been negatively affected by the influence of demons, had been given items to wear on his person that augmented his physical size and strength, and were also giving him directions to take the leadership of the clan in a certain direction, in a direction that would ostracize them from external help, including the Xel'nari. Our associate, who once again is not present, is of that clan and was able to resolve part of that issue. While we were investigating it, the demons became aware of our investigation and became aware of how close we were getting to the truth, and we were deemed a sufficient problem to warrant a rather swift response. A portal opened above the village, and two very powerful demonic spellcasters emerged from within. We attempted to do battle with some of them. I did my best to hold them off, but their magic was exceedingly powerful, and I was a little tired already at the beginning of that day. The majority of the Goliath village was devastated, and the reason our associate has not returned to our side is because he is ensuring the well-being of his clan before he returns to his duties.
If he returns at all.
We were able to observe a teleportation circle being used to transport in demons from another location. I have recorded the primary glyph responsible for that, but attempting to use it seems profoundly dangerous, and I would only attempt that or encourage the attempting of that only if the location and people present at that location are prepared for immediate high intensity conflict.
It should also be noted that this, to the best of our knowledge, seems to be the first time that whoever is ordering these people or whatever structure they have commanding them has launched direct action. They were in the shadows, they were assuming power, but this was a direct reaction to what has occurred around them and their threat of discovery. This may accelerate their plans if they move from intelligence and pre-battle planning to striking, that could happen with very sudden action.
We traveled here as quickly as we could to make you aware of this possibility.
She leans back in her chair for a moment, seemingly puzzling it all out in her mind. Slade, what do you make of all of this? And stepping from the shadows behind her chair, seemingly
Demon.
mellowing out of the darkness, is a halfling.
Oh.
Dressed entirely in black leathers. His face is hidden by a complete black mask. Similar in style to a plague doctor's mask, but without as long of a beak. It is more of a shortened beak, and the entirety of his hair is covered by feathers, jet black raven feathers that go down along his back. That seems to be part of the headdress that he wears. You can see upon his wrists and strapped to his torso as well are a number of blades of very intricate design.
Shiny.
He steps out and as he is of height of the desk, he pauses for a moment and then hops up onto one of the chairs so that he can be seen properly, which kind of takes away from the very lethal presence that he seems to be emanating. There is almost a comicalness to it of him hopping up onto the bench. He looks out across the group and goes, "My spies can definitely corroborate some of the information that they've provided, and what they have said would fill in the gaps. I would say that they are likely telling the truth. I do not sense lies from them. They are hiding some information, but I would expect as much from the Xel'nari. Their location was lost when they made their way south through Kalashtan lands, and then they appeared back on the shores. So, the timeline matches. This speaks of what has happened with the demo matches as well. I would trust their word."
Have you been tracking us?
"Oh yes, for some time. I believe you murdered one of my scouts at one point. You almost caught on to me." And at that, he reaches into his pocket and pulls up a very familiar-looking black gem
The horse?
that was present in a ghostly dog that was
The
following you for a while.
yeah.
And he chuckles for a moment and goes, "As you are aware, the Empire of Rivia does not have a standing army. There is reasons for this. Our network runs deep.
Temptation to go, oh, you're the fucker.
I think Kovac would pull out the broken pieces of the one that she kept after. I think she just dispelled it when it got in range. So she goes, we were ensuring the safety of our congregation. This is what remains. It is impressive work.
Ah, yeah, thank you. You can keep it. It is useless now if you wish for a souvenir. Yes, we first were drawn attention to you as we had been investigating Thimblefingers ourselves, but you drove him off of sorts and he was able to escape west. And we thought it wise to keep an eye on you, as there was a certain presence about you that seemed to interest us. and it perhaps was a wise choice to do so.
I whispered to Mug in his head. He liked our gravitas.
Good moxie.
Do you have any information on where Thimblefingers might be at the moment? I would be very interested in paying him a visit.
Didn't we already
No.
get told that he's with the orcs?
Well, I'm trying to corroborate.
So, that was me saying it out loud, not Sam. It was just like, did
Yeah,
we
yeah,
get
yeah.
told that? I'm pretty sure we did. Oh, you're doing a sneaky thing.
Unfortunately not. He was able to bargain himself aboard a vessel, and they were quite discreet in their exit. We did send out vessels to track it, but were unable to locate it. It seems he has got assistance from a greater power.
Greater or
I-
lesser, perhaps.
I do whisper into
Someone of great wealth, at least, to be able to make such a vessel disappear from our sights.
Don't look at me. I do whisper to in Kovek's mind. Do we mention about the Black Death? It's not. I don't know if it's demonic in nature or so, but that thing, of course, the sightings of it. People might want to know where it is in terms of avoiding.
Quebec can't really say anything in response, so
If it's just like a, then that's fine.
okay.
What did the Queen call what we're going to assume is the Spy Master?
That's
Slade?
Slade.
Slade.
Slade!
Oh, that's why there's Deathstroke on the fucking meme.
No, that's Slade!
That's Slade.
Slade.
Yeah.
That's not Deathstroke. Slade is not Deathstroke. They're different. They're different people, despite the fact
Slade!
they look almost exactly the same.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
It's
I
alright,
did.
I'm very different. I'm
They're
deep into
similar
my
but
Teen
different.
Titans.
I love Teen Titans. It's great.
Although the original Teen Titans was so good.
Yeah.
Is there any information that you would wish more elaboration on? Addressing to Slade, that is.
I would like to know more of what happened to you, your friend within the Kalashtan, what tortures they used, and the device that they used upon him, but I suppose we can wait until the guard returns for that.
That device is also present within the lead box. However, to the best of our knowledge, that device was used as the method of observation by the demons, which is why it was being kept in a lead box in an extra dimensional space to ensure that it was not functioning.
They
In terms of the
people-
other items you're after, we cannot answer those questions. We were not present when they occurred. The
But
orcs
I
that,
kept
that was being
very,
referred.
very tight-lipped about what he went through.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So you were saying, Alice?
I forgot.
It's alright. ADH twins activate.
The Queen actually speaks up now, leaning forward again, with more of a serious look upon her face. To be honest, it puts my mind at ease to know that there is truth behind the rumors of demon activity, although it is of course of concern, especially mention of Grimgarush and perhaps a resurrection, but perhaps you were not aware that several other incidents have occurred, of which have all pointed back to Xel'nari influence rather than demonic.
Oh, that is something we did not mention, is it?
Yes, we
they were
observed.
framing the Xel'nari. We witnessed
Yes.
this while we were at the Goliath village. They were
Yes.
redressing the deceased as Xel'nari, as if they were the ones that had come through and attacked them.
Slade speaks up again. Yes, and our confirmations are good to have from that you were present, but not the cause of what happened with the Demo Princess and her usurped coup.
Oh,
We were.
We found remains and uniforms of Xel'nari presence there, and had believed you to be the cause of it.
That makes sense. You are presented with information before your eyes. It's hard to dissuade that occasionally.
And put some color on why you were following our steps. Understandably so.
I just thought we were
Indeed.
famous.
Xel'nari are not always forthgiving with their information.
Mm.
Understandable, of course, with having a bit of a hand in most courts. But
it does put us in a very tight position.
we had already confirmed that the Xel'nari were not at influence with the assassination of the Namaran prince.
Hmm. That is another concerning.
For the record, neither is the princess.
There's
That
a
is
lot
good
we
to
can't
know.
answer.
We knew that you had harbored her at the Xel'nari, which had raised greater concerns.
We did travel to that region originally under the impression that her force was rallying to invade Namara, but we learned of her true intentions upon our arrival.
True love.
If I could be so bold as to suggest a small and humble course of action. What we have seen is several signs of an attempt of chaos and disunity to weaken allies and create small fronts of battle which are easily won. If perhaps there is a sign of unity, would you wish perhaps to have a state visit from the representatives of the Xel'nari showing that they are trusted and welcome in Tanzanite, the most powerful city in the world? Humbly suggested.
That is perhaps a wise decision if these creatures are wishing to sow dissent amongst the people and turn us against the Xel'nari, then a show of unity would be wise. Perhaps bring these assailants to the forefront.
It might also be prudent to gather foreign dignitaries from around the world and uh, other nobles of high station and import, and Kovac cast a glance at Mug ever so slightly.
And you get a telepathic message saying, "Ever heard the one about all the eggs in one basket?"
But that is just an idea. It could be
Hmm.
it could be unsafe to have many, but perhaps a few trusted allies or people who happen to be adjacent or present at the time.
At any one time, emissaries of a number of nations are present within the city. I could send word to them to their cities and their people and their lords. Mm,
We just have to be careful because we do not know who has been infected.
yes,
As
it makes it a tricky
indeed.
situation. It is
Mm.
concerning to see the spread of their power, and even more concerning is how such an organization has been able to move until now undetected.
As Thimblefingers has fled, to the best of our knowledge, to the west, perhaps approaching individuals from the Western Kingdoms could be of interest.
Perhaps. Do you believe him to be a member of these demons?
Yes. Perhaps not himself a demon, but perhaps a cultist or someone attempting to gain power or favor from their rise.
It does seem
Ally
that
or working parallel?
there seems to be some sort of correlation.
This Slade speaks up again. Yes, we believe he was working for someone else. He's definitely under the contract of someone. We were on our way to investigate before you stepped in and broke up his operations in Antioch.
It seemed necessary.
It was most
Also,
wise. We had reason to believe that he planned to enact something upon Antioch itself shortly.
We did what we are aiming to do.
We did
Save
our
people.
jobs.
Welcome, Raiders.
another possible, humbly suggested course of action. As the foremost expert on the magical materials which are used by these forces arrayed against us, Kovek would be well suited to working with your highest court mages to educate them on what could be done to detect such things within your court.
I'll get you to roll a persuasion for that one.
I'm gonna smile and nod.
I'm going to assume in this case that's not enough for advantage.
Yes, unfortunately, no.
However, Mug is really good at persuasion. Ooh. 27.
God dang.
So slightly above average.
At this, she takes some deep thought into it. Perhaps something can be arranged, though you must understand I am hesitant to allow someone from outside of my own court to have an understanding of the security measures we put in place here. Though
That is
you are a
understandable.
member of my city as well, I must be even more cautious than previously with what the evidence you have brought before me.
Of course, I trust that my father has been a beneficial member of your court for many years.
Yes, he has. As to your mother, she has made great advancements along with the rest of your people in advancing the standing of this city.
Indeed.
Can I?
Though it has had some unfortunate ramifications on your minds, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure I follow.
Storm?
I have a question, if that is alright.
Of course.
What can you tell us of Kovek's mother and
Oh my god.
the endeavor that she has been sent upon?
I do not understand. Whilst I am aware of Kovek's family, I do not have direct interaction with them.
It seems she went on an unexpected. I could feel the daggers from Kovek in the back of my head, and I'm ignoring them entirely.
Feeling them or the actual dagger that Kovac just managed to somehow get?
I wanted to segue to the mines, not my mom. God.
Getting there.
Segue to Kovek's mum should be an indie band.
Kovac's mom has got a gun.
I nearly just spat my water everywhere.
Yes, my work here is done.
The bard's work is finally
done.
done. So he got a spit take.
The Black Death, the entity, seems to be a point of interest, is it not?
At this, a very serious look comes over her face. What do you know of the Black Death?
I will share what we know, but I am curious
Sam gets
first
sheepish.
at the answer to my question, which is, what is your interest? Because Kovek's mother was unexpectedly, mid-project, roused to go and investigate it. And I have...
That is for no doing of my own. What their society does is their own choice. I was not aware of any particular expedition. There's nothing of any royal interest to it.
Oh,
This is what I fear.
mummy gone rogue.
I fear that
No.
there is something going wrong with your people. There has been mention of nightmares and plagues of the mind. And the Black Death is but a metal entity which seems to be under the control of smaller beings than it of itself. It is a contraption, not a living, breathing thing.
Yeah, it's definitely yeah.
It travels
First-hand attest
like
to that.
your machines here keep your city going, but it's different. What concerns me is that there are people in your which is not information we wish to withhold from you, but it did bring to mind the concern of your people and why we wanted to come talk to you, because we fear that your city may already be tainted with the touch of the demons. And then this is where Storm is going to reach over to Xantix and grab his arm.
What?
Please, do not think I have not noticed. And she slips up your sleeve.
It'll be hilarious if it's just eczema. It's a skin condition!
It's a raunchy tattoo of the Queen.
I'm sorry, my queen.
Bearing
They
her
weren't supposed to
chest.
know.
I believe Xantix has suffered himself of the plague that is of your city. We encountered one on our way in, of these markings, ramblings, and I gather you did not sleep well last night, Xantix. Please do not lie, we are in the presence of the Queen.
Wow!
Get sassed.
I'm a very, very busy gnome and I yank my arm out, and I don't know about any of that, and just put the sleeve down.
There are people in your city that are unwell in the mind, and I think it is an influence of potentially these demons. And I am very worried and concerned how many people will be affected. This is why we come to you in great haste about the situation of the demons. They
You have
were
presented a number of concerns that I have. They are possibly linked and yet somehow separate. The Black Death is... Well, it is more linked to these demons than you may think,
well,
but not linked to my city at least.
Mother!
I have concern of this as well because of the unusual behavior of Kovek's mother, which seemed quite out of character, considering all the conversations we have had to the people close to her.
If I'm not much mistaken, Miss Riazi is an artificer and part of the artificial embassy.
Yeah,
Correct?
And then it is my belief that they would have found information on the Black Death's whereabouts and have sorted out, as it is a machine of great capabilities and of great interest to the artificers.
it seems...
It is...
Pardon, I did not mean to interrupt.
It is meant to be a myth, or at least that is what much of the Old Kingdom has tried to bring forth.
It is most certainly not a myth. It is a very large, destructive machine that destroys all in its path.
Although of this I
But
am aware.
you can afflict heat metal to it. That kind of works.
I am well aware of its capabilities.
Which I do raise another concern. What of the mines in your city? Was there something that occurred there? Is there a reason why they have been closed off? Your citizens are expressing great concern.
I have been informed that there is some concerns as to the stability of some of the steam engines that have been put in place. It is believed that one or possibly multiple of them have some pressing safety concerns that are being reviewed, and as thus it has been sealed off until we are sure that it is not a danger to the people.
Who has been doing these reviews, Your Majesty?
And insight check.
I do not wish to
Roll for it.
question your judgment nor your authority, but I do question who you sent down there, their integrity, their minds, and is it usual for a task of this scale to take as long as it has? I merely ask that you question everything for its potential to be a plot against you.
I am not the one who gave the order to close the mines. I suppose that is not necessarily true. My decree was put upon it, but it was brought to me as a matter of great concern, and so I gave the official seal to close the mines until investigations are completed. However, my court is not heading up the investigations. That has been designated to. Oh, what is the gentleman's name? I will find out the information of the man responsible, but it is designated to the embassies of the infrastructure section, as it is to do with our infrastructure. They have closed off the area until then. I will have what information is available to you currently up to date presented to you, if it is a concern.
Your Majesty, would it be alright for us, with your grace, to investigate ourselves, to make sure that everything is as it seems?
You believe this to be a demonic incursion?
It just seems like a very convenient circumstance at a very coincidental timing to all of these other events that are occurring, and a convenient location away from prying eyes, which are now closed off that nobody can enter.
We
Plus,
believe this to be suspicious.
plus at the same time, seeing your with everything going on about the Xel'nari, we can start hopefully putting those rumors to rest if you are deemed us worthy enough to work alongside of you. If you kind of get the meaning, kind of three birds, one stone, so to speak. And there's no harm in letting us, I suppose, as long as you seem it.
We only wish to
fit.
assist in your well-being and safety. If you do not wish for us to poke around in your city, we will respect this, but I am not confident that this is not trouble. Maybe I am ignorant, but with all circumstances that have occurred to us in the time that we have traveled, I have learned to be incredibly suspicious of even the smallest of things. Because things that I once took for granted as safe, like my home and its people, which was, as far as we knew, impenetrable. How do you say this word? It doesn't matter. if you left the island, you could not return. Those who left were killed because it was unsafe. Yet the demons found their way onto our island and took it over. An isolated island with no way to get on to the island. It was absolutely impossible as far as we knew.
It is currently your own guards, Your Majesty, who are enforcing the closure of those mines. It would not be a good look if if the extension of your power, your guards, were seen to be enforcing a closure that turned out to be fraudulent or unsafe, or to be masking something untoward.
By my guards, do you mean the City Watch, or the Royal Guards, or my elite guards? There are a number of
I
choices.
believe there was a Royal Guard officer at each checkpoint.
I gave no
which-
such order for a Royal Guard to be dispatched.
I'll look over to Slade.
No, no such order was given.
Very interesting.
I would have you speak with the man in charge of the investigations before going down there yourself. But you have my permission to do so.
Can
If
we
you
get that
deem
in
it worthy.
writing?
Of course.
And we promise we will bring whatever we find straight to you. As
Kovac, she does something that probably will make you slightly jealous at the moment. Yes, she clicks her fingers and a quill and parchment appears before her.
This hypocritical bitch.
Inside Kovac's head is just, Yas, Queen!
Yes, work. You work that penmanship. Your Highness. Your Highness.
She has levels in the order of scribes wizards.
Or just a magic quill, one or the other.
Yes, maybe, but the former's cooler. She's like me.
Your representation is
she-
here, Kovac. Your representation is here.
As she starts writing out a writ of passage and a confirmation of orders, she continues speaking. There is actually much of what you have brought before me that I wish to discuss. It is a matter of where to start. The things happening in the mines is of great concern, and you made mention of the nightmares and the afflictions upon some of my people. And at that, she, while still writing with her right hand, lifts up her left hand and allows her sleeve to fall back, and then stops for a moment with the quill, holds it up into the air and lets go of it where it stays hovering in the air for a moment, and then runs her hand along her arm, of which you actually see scratch marks appearing as she removes whatever incantation was covering it up.
please forgive me, but
It seems that whatever
have
it
my
is has been
suspicions.
afflicting most of my citizens. We have been trying to keep the peace as we have been investigating. Much of your own unit, Kovac, was dispatched in investigations as a number of the effects were seen to the east and have more recently been seen to the west as well. However, all we find are those who seemingly have lost their mind. They ramble about things, but are not sure of what they even ramble about. When questioned deeper, they speak of going about their day and have no memory of what we are questioning them on.
I feel a level
I too
of
have had days where I feel like I have missed parts of it. I forget parts of it.
Oh dear.
I
It's been
fear
getting
do-
worse of late.
I fear that it is possible that the demons took what they could from the Kalishta village and may have tried to implement it here. I very much hope that I am incorrect, but there are very close parallels to the type of memory loss you are explaining to those of that Kalishta village in particular. Is it a coincidence that it was also overrun with demon influence? I don't know.
Was it?
As for the Black Death and breaking the seals, something that perhaps has not been provided to you, though I know high-ranking members of the Xel'nari are aware of it. The Black Death acts as one of the seals. It was designed at the end of the war to seal away a part of Grimgrosh, or one of the keys. I'm not 100% sure of what it is. I only know the tales that have been passed down through my family.
Storm starts
Yes,
muttering
keys.
in cat.
Yeah,
But-
I do say out loud, yes, keys. That is what the demon was mentioning. That they thought that your father, God, shit, was one of the keys. I'm in pain. I'm sorry, ramblings. Ah!
It is okay, Sam. My father was the god of our village. It is a very complicated thing to describe, but I suppose that... What is the word they use for godchild? With mortal parent?
Demigod.
A demigod, yes.
Yeah.
I thought Godchild means you're not related. Sorry, that's me rambling, not. Sorry, I realise I'm doing that a lot.
Storm's just really confused. Please forgive me. I have not been speaking common for very long. It has only been a few years.
Well, the Black Death was designed as a way of safeguarding one of these seals, and it is deliberately elusive. If you are aware of its location or have witnessed it, I suggest you keep that to yourselves. I would not even ask of it myself then. And if your mother is seeking it out, then I hope, one, that she is
Sound
unsuccessful in
right.
doing so, but it does put into question who is perhaps backing the expedition.
My mother is very rarely unsuccessful. A trait that I now find gives me pause and a degree of concern.
Kovek, this is something we will have to look into very promptly. However, what poses more concern is that the possibility these nightmares that your people are suffering have something to do with the demons, and that this expedition to find the Black Death is just another notch on their adventure, on their quest to achieve what they are trying to unlock.
Kovac will hear in her head again from me. We may need to double check your father's arms as well.
Oh,
Your Majesty, if we may ask, how many seals were there? To gain an understanding of the speed we need to act.
I'm not fully aware of it. As I said, it is only stories that were passed down to my family. Most similar to childhood bedtime stories of sorts, I guess. I can think of perhaps 6, maybe 7 seals that were mentioned. Unfortunately, I do not know the locations of them, although it seems that one has been revealed in the southwestern seas.
More than one, actually.
there was a second.
Yes. So potentially a third of them are now opened.
Seems so.
How is it that you were not aware of both?
Well, it seems that when the seals were created, they were deliberately careful about who received what information.
But
Make sure
I
that it
think-
could not be.
we saw columns of light in the sky both times, and you were only under the impression that one seal was opened?
No, you misunderstood me. I knew of information stating that one of the seals was sealed beneath the ocean. It seems that that
Ah.
one is the one that has been located. That is one that I was aware of.
Ah,
Had it not been one of the ones, I could have given you this information, but it seems superfluous now.
Tis quite alright.
We are aware that 3 seals have been broken. Judging by the beams of light, I assume that to be the case.
Yeah.
In regards to your personal safety, Your Majesty, how powerful are the casters in your court?
We have some of the more powerful wizards in the lands, though probably not in comparison to some of the ranks of the Xel'nari.
There is a magical feat I have encountered in my studies. It is a quite potent one, and it is not for the faint of heart. 'Tis a spell referred to as Mind Blank.
I am not
It-
familiar with it.
It is a spell that is able to completely protect the target from psychic incursions and attack. If these nightmares are a symptom of magic afflicting the mind, then perhaps placing important figures such as yourself under the effects of this spell would be to your benefit.
It is something we could definitely look into. If a spell is of that great power, it would be quite taxing to put upon many, but
But you are a very important figure, and ensuring your well-being is a high priority for this entire city.
it had not been something I had considered. I will look into this. Thank you.
I would also, and she glances at the halfling, ensure that the people closest to you and your confidants are clean.
That is a wise decision.
It is not meant to offend anyone, only we have seen far too many times now the kind of people that are affected, and they are people who directly affect the influence of the masses. And your confidants and your spies could unknowingly be helping in this cause.
Or knowingly be helping.
This I very, very much hope not, but it is true. It could be.
Perhaps it is time to find out how widespread this effect has been. We have been trying to keep it hush as to not cause a panic, but it is starting to get out of control.
Something I would also like to note is that the artifact that was implanted upon our friend, its effects were still present even through the Xel'nari quarters, which had defenses against magic and scrying. So I do wish you to proceed with caution. And I warn you of this with great concern. And it is also important to note that disarming of these artifacts are quite explosive, And she glances at Kovac with like a sharp look.
And how were you able to identify the item?
I'm not a magic user. I think Kovac is best to answer this one.
The item was identified with great skill and foresight on my part. We have been seeing a range of evidence building up and have first-hand experience of different approaches by the demons.
Wasn't it Mug or someone that did like a detect magic and then they're like, what's that coming from your chest? I can't remember now. This is
I-
me speaking. Storm.
Maybe a divine sense, but
Maybe?
yeah.
I
can't
believe
remember now.
what tipped us off as to the item's location is it began to physically hurt the lie because they were like speaking through it or something, and then just
I think it was
portaled.
I think it resonated, and then after that, I think it was Mick did a sense good and evil, saw evil was coming from the lie, and then finally 2 and 2 was put together, and it was cut out.
Surgery.
Yes.
Apologies. It has been a long day. My brain kind of wandered a bit there. I'm sorry.
All good.
It's okay.
It has been some time as well.
Yeah.
Lore heavy dump. Lore heavy dump.
Heavy
And recap.
Man, this is drawing on all our memories here.
So, then I have
Yes.
two
Can I just
requests
say-
of you.
As the person who doesn't take any notes whatsoever, I'm really surprised by how much I remember.
You're doing well. Everyone's doing really well.
Perhaps I have two requests of you then. One, as you have requested, is to investigate the mines. But I would also like you to pick up where my guards have fallen short and investigate the cause of these nightmares and its, and she looks at her arm, ensuing effects.
I think that would be our pleasure, to be honest.
Yes.
It might give us
Can-
insight into what is going on in a bigger scale.
Can I ask a question in regards to that? At the time of, I don't know if it's already been answered. The nightmares starting and the markings beginning. Was that also roughly around the same time as the mines closing?
I do not believe so, no. But
What
I
is
I remember
cannot
if
be
one had
entirely
started
sure.
long before the other.
what is the timeline? If you could assist us in this, it would help in correlation to when the keys were unlocked, when your minds closed, when your people first started seeing signs of affliction.
Slade, perhaps you're more familiar with the timeline. The mines were closed a few months ago. The first stories we heard, whispers of the nightmares, was perhaps a month after the mine's closure,
Hmm.
perhaps longer.
There
It may
might
have,
be.
it could possibly have been in some kind of unison, but it takes time for people to come forth about these things, of course. More and more
And
coming
not-
forth every day as they find out about it.
And it does take a while for if there is some magical ritual happening. Just trying to state things here. It takes a while for these things to be set up as well. So if the mine's being closed and things being set up in that area, if it is so that, then that could follow suit in the timeline.
I have a question.
The mines were closed because one of the generators did suffer
Yeah.
a catastrophic malfunction, and so they are investigating the others.
That seems very out of character for a creation of the Vidalcan.
What are the side effects of this occurrence? And these steam machines, do they have a byproduct? Where does
I'm not sure I understand.
do they?
Is there a cause and effect?
Do they let off
suppose.
steam, and where does it go?
The steam is used to run the machines that you see throughout the city.
And keeps it warm.
It creates the pressure, the power.
Does it,
If I
by any chance, make its way up to the people?
yes,
No, they are vented out.
Where are they vented to?
If I had a map, I could possibly mark them, but Razi should be aware of their location. I believe you have a map of their workings. Your father did help with it, and your mother.
I look at Sam and go, yes,
I believe
That
we've
should-
seen something.
that shouldn't be a problem at all, Your Majesty. How
Storm.
astute of you to make that observation.
Storm raises an eyebrow but ignores that exchange. She goes,
Yeah, so does Sam. Sam's just like.
please forgive me, but I have a theory which I wish to express, if this is okay.
By all means.
On my island, we have some very strong, what you would call alcoholic beverage. It is not uncommon to induce dream, vision, but never before have I experienced a shared dream with another. It is possible that there is something inducing these effects on these people, and maybe it's coming from the mines.
It is possible. I would not rule it out.
That is why I ask if there is leaking of the steam from these machines, and
The
how
steam-
far and wide the mines go through the city.
The steam is the net benefit. It turns turbines to
Yes,
run
but something
machines.
comes out. You cannot have something that goes in without something coming out. It doesn't just disappear.
It would be mechanically inefficient to have to continuously reinsert water into the system to heat up. So once the energy from the steam rising is transferred out, that same water, once cooled, is recaptured and reheated. The byproduct of those machines would likely be smoke from burning fuel to create the heat.
Yes, and that is what is vented out. But outside of the city.
It is only a theory that they are using this to make people susceptible. I'm not sure. It's just an idea that came to mind considering our own circumstances in the presence of such entities.
It is definitely worth considering. At this current point in time, I would not rule anything out. We had not thought to link the two situations together.
It's possible you were influenced to not make that connection.
How long ago have your scratches been present, Your Majesty?
This she kind of looks to Slade for a moment of a bit of concern. Truth be told, I was one of the first.
That is concerning.
Apart from a few restless nights, it has been mostly contained.
What concerns us is the possibility of information that is being drawn from you through these dreams, and what information could be influencing you from these dreams. Because our friend, when he was implanted with the item in his chest, was also affected in ways he did not know. It might be
There are
wise.
too many unknowns.
It might be wise to find a priest. I am not sure, a cleric.
We have tried clerics. We have tried remedies. Whatever it is not a affliction that is caused by contact or ingestion or inhaling. That is why we are so stumped by what it is.
Well then,
It should not theoretically be of magical effect either, as nothing can affect or pierce the castle walls. At least nothing that we are aware of.
What if it's a disease?
The clerics have not been able to identify any such disease.
I pull out my
Prior-
spoon and put it near Xantix's arm.
It doesn't work because we're in the place where the magic items don't work.
I'll do it.
How creepy would that be? You pull out your spoon, you put it next to a gnome's arm, and it starts slurping.
delicious.
I mean,
The queen kind of looks at you, very confused.
you're clean. Put the
What is
spoon
that
away.
meant to do?
Oh yeah, magic doesn't work here. For us.
Your Majesty, prior to us departing your castle, I would like to speak to your court mages and investigate the possibility of enacting this mind blank spell.
Very well. We can have it arranged.
And on a a little bit of a different note, but also kind of sort of on the same topic. I would also like to formally, on behalf of my people, make connections? Is this the right expression? I am only one less than the chief of our village. I am the speaker of my people. The new speaker. And I come to represent our island and our people. And we wish only for peace. But also...
At this, she actually raises her hand to stop you and chuckles a little bit. You are not the first of your people I have met in very recent times.
Ah, good. They made their way here then.
Yes, we have engaged in talks of trade
Yeah, this
and
is
a
good.
unison between our people. It was one more thing that we were checking to make sure we could trust you. I understand your hesitation to bring forth information of your people, seeing as they have been so secretive of their existence for so long.
It is hard to know who we can trust.
Hmm.
But we very
At this
much
point
wish
in
to
time,
create
extremely.
peaceful alliances. We wish to remain as neutral as we can and independent, but not without friends.
That is the Xel'nari way, after all.
I can assure you the Berivian way is that we will not influence your people, but we welcome trade with all.
That is good to know. They can be a little bit naive because they are unaware of what the world holds for them.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I feel like a short recess is in order. You have given me much to think about and much to discuss with my court. And I am sure that there is much that you need to discuss as well.
Yeah.
Shall we revisit the topic tomorrow, or do you wish to have time to start your investigations?
We would like to, at the very least, view the demonic items while we are still here so that my possessions can be returned to me.
All of your possessions will be returned to you. We will hold on to that for the moment to confirm your validate your explanations of it, and then they will
Fair.
be returned to you as well.
Do be extremely careful with those items. I'm sure I do not need to explain this to you, but we have been extremely cautious, and I would hate for their influence to make it into your castle.
To put it lightly, or simply rather, we are not sure that their magical effects are not still present upon their existence. Their I'm not
We
sure on
will take
expression,
the utmost care with it.
but we store it in alternate dimension space because it was safer.
Yes.
We have
To-
means of working with such devices, using the astral plane as a way to exit this dimension.
Good. I, I will confer with your mages as we depart, and we will speak with you tomorrow. We will likely not be as well dressed tomorrow if we are going from here to the mines.
By all means, we're happy to dispense the formalities.
Speaking of
If
such
you wish to
formal-
investigate the mines, it may take you more than a day. Perhaps I will await for your message.
Right?
When she said she was going to keep the demonic thing, does that mean we're going to get the bag of holding back as well that is currently residing
You'll get
with
the bag of holding, yes.
They're just
She
gonna
will-
take out the iron box.
Just double checking. Sorry, mug you.
Yeah. While I'm sure it would cause no undue attention for Your Majesty to meet with representatives of the Xel'nari once, should we become common guests, such actions might cause gossip or rumor. Is there a more discreet way we may have audience with you?
No, currently, this is the most discreet of ways.
There were many who saw us enter here in your court. And not to cast dispersions, but courtiers can be fickle.
It might be wise for us not to dress as Xel'nari as we travel to and from the castle.
Slade will be more than equipped to facilitate your entry and exit from the castle in future endeavors.
Then how may we contact him?
You mean
I can possibly do that. You don't mind strange orcs talking in your mind, do you?
Slade kind of chuckles. You'd be surprised how often that is happening.
And at that stage, I'll telepathically go to his mind and go, yeah, not that surprised.
At that, he does kind of tilt his head slightly. Normally not within the castle walls. I assume that is of only close proximity. Very well.
Interesting.
For now, we will adjourn. I will have the information of those responsible for the closure of the mines brought to you immediately before you leave. And we will work on these demonic items as soon as possible. If you have any pressing concerns, please raise them to Slade. I will make sure that he is available to you. In the meantime, and she rolls up the scroll that she has been writing out and seals it with a magical wax seal. And then offers it over to Kovac.
She's much more composed than me.
Before vanishing the quill.
And it's gone.
You have been given full access as though the word of the Queen herself. So, by all means, your investigations should not be hampered by anyone.
We will do our best to be as respectful as possible, keeping in mind that it is your word that we are representing.
And whilst I understand the Xel'nari have the funds of their own, if there is anything that you do require for your investigations, please let Slade be aware, and he will facilitate the acquisitions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being honest, sincere, and open with us.
It went both ways, so thank you.
So, Storm wouldn't have done too much at the beginning to, like, pay the Queen much respect, but she definitely pays her deep respect now.
Alright. And that is where we will end up for tonight, because it is getting
Yay.
fairly late.
Yay, we
do
didn't
have
die.
Betty. You're not dead yet.
We did diplomacy!
Yes.
We didn't
And
cause
without a sword.
fires.
I
Yeah.
tried to get Kovac promoted out of the group, but it didn't work. No, I didn't.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for our raiders, Insanity. Thank you very much. We welcome you all. We hope you come back to join us next week, where we will continue our game, and perhaps get to the bottom of what is going on in Tanzanite.
This
Seems
is
a
sus!
number of things may be linked, or possibly just the conclusion of the party. Hoping that everything is linked.
We don't know, we'll find out.
We
Next
are
time.
finding out.
Next
no.
time.
Dragon Ball Z!
Xel'nari! All right. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to find someone to raid.
Yes, who are we gonna raid? Let's find out.
I mean, D&D Live Presents are currently going. They're an hour
They've been on for
into
an
their game.
hour. Friendly has been in 3 hours, so probably close to closing off.
Isn't D&D Live Presents our New Zealand friends?
We have raided them before, yes, I know that. With Robbie, Bailey, Hunter,
they're
Jules.
Australian.
Oh no, they're Australian.
I
think they're
know where
doing-
my vote is.
Yeah, I think they're doing a Greek-inspired game at the moment.
Yeah, it does look to be the case.
Yeah, I'm down for D&D Live Presents.
Okay, yeah.
Alright. So it is
Works
then.
for me.
Yeah. So it has.
Thank
so
you
it
all for
shall
joining us.
be.
Till next time.
Very well.
Oh.
Catch you all in the next
Boing.
stream, y'all.
Mwah.
Y'all.
Mwah.